Hello, welcome. I'm so thrilled that you are here. I am Kristen from Kristen Cain Style, and I can help you create a wardrobe you love wearing. I am a style and mindset coach, and the work that I do with women is centered around clothing, of course, and all things style related, and it incorporates the mindset side of things. I realized some time ago that if I was only addressing the clothing, I was not actually getting to the root of what was going on in a woman's style that was preventing her from showing up and looking and feeling amazing whenever she got dressed. So I began to incorporate this idea of our thoughts and our feelings and how they actually create the wardrobe that we have, and that the only way to get the results that we want is to trace things back and really look at what are you thinking and feeling when it's time to get dressed, or when it's time to shop, or when it's time to pack for a trip, because those are the things that are keeping you stuck. Those are the problems with your wardrobe. It's not about the clothing solely. Yes, the clothes matter, but what I believe matters more is our thoughts, because when we pay attention to what we're thinking, we can choose new thoughts once we see how the thoughts that we have are creating a result that we don't like. And so I do that work one-on-one with clients in a program called Style Therapy. It is my signature program. It is all the things that I have learned in over 20 years in closets and fitting rooms, boiled down into a very specific process that takes you from a place where you really are frustrated and fed up and overwhelmed with your style, or even just bored and kind of apathetic and not really sure what to do about it, to a place where you understand exactly how your thoughts affect what happens when you go to get dressed, and you know how to build a wardrobe that supports the life that you live, and you can just get on with it. Style does not become sort of all-consuming for you. It kind of has the opposite effect, where you know what to have in your wardrobe to support you and to have you look and feel amazing, and you can then choose to make it as big a part of your life or as small a part of your life as necessary. Some women really don't want to pay any attention to style once they have that part dialed in, and it's only when they're missing a piece that they want to add something new. Other women want style to sort of be part of their identity and have fashion be fun and all of that. You can do it either way, but if we don't pay attention to the thoughts, you don't get the results you want. So that's the work that I do one-on-one with clients. There is a link down below for Style Therapy. I also offer a consult call if you would like, and I can help you really make the best decision for you as to whether or not Style Therapy is a good fit for you at this point. Today I'm going to talk about one of the most important topics with regards to really having a wardrobe you love wearing and how that all comes to pass, and that is style self-trust. And I have talked about this here before, and then I get to kind of the next level of why it matters so much, and I want to reiterate the importance of style self-trust and what it is and the benefits of it and the risks of it and what happens on the other side once you have it, because I really believe that it is a crucial part of creating a wardrobe that actually lights you up, that you adore wearing. So what is style self-trust? So self-trust of any kind is really trusting yourself enough to take action without a whole lot of mind drama, and knowing that you're going to make a decision and take action, and you will deal with whatever the consequences are if it's not the best, if it turns out to not be the best decision, and or you will feel great about your decision because it will be the best decision for the moment. This self-trust idea is that we are growing the muscle of knowing the right answer for ourselves. And I find that specifically with regards to style and building a wardrobe you love, women often get stuck here because they don't trust themselves to create a wardrobe. They don't trust themselves to know what to wear, or know what to edit, or know what to buy, or know what to pack for a trip, or know what to wear for a special occasion. They either didn't ever have self-trust in this area of clothing, or they lost it somehow over the years, whether it's because their life circumstance changed, their body changed, their budget changed. They lost their ability to trust themselves when it comes to creating a look that feels authentic and fabulous for them. And so style self-trust is just that. It is creating the trust that you need in order to move forward with regards to style and feel good about it, and to not have it derail you and feel really icky and confusing and overwhelming, because you have the self-trust in place to know what to do next with regards to your style. And how do you build style self-trust? This is unfortunately the place where most women resist a lot. And that is because the only way to build style self-trust, the only way to build self-trust in any area, but today I'm talking about style self-trust, is to take action. Our brains want to think that we can just keep learning and taking in more information and waiting, and then we will just show up and we'll have it right, we'll get it right. And that isn't actually the way it works. We build self-trust like a muscle, one step at a time, and eventually we have a really solid foundation of self-trust that allows us to have getting dressed be not any difficulty or no obstacle in our day at all. But in the very beginning, before we've started down that path, the lack of style self-trust is usually what's in the way. It prevents us from making decisions at all. It's not that we make the wrong decision. It prevents us from even picking which boots to buy or which jeans to buy because we don't have the style self-trust to know what is meant for us and what will be the best decision. And what are the risks of style self-trust, if there are any? I would say that, there aren't really any risks except that as you're building it, you might make a decision that maybe doesn't turn out to be as great a decision as you were hoping, but that's okay because that gives your brain more information. You can evaluate that decision and you can ask yourself, well, what worked and what didn't work and what could I do differently? That trio of questions is kind of my favorite for evaluating anything in our lives. What worked? What didn't work? What would I do differently? You're collecting data. You're understanding on the other side of any decision, specifically with regards to style, you're understanding, did that shape work? Did that color work? Did that fabric work? Did that whole combination of pieces work as that outfit? You can evaluate it. So there aren't really any risks, except that sometimes you might make the wrong choice. You might get it wrong. And I say wrong choice because there really is no wrong choice. It's style. But you might make a choice that you would then go back and think, oh, I would have done that differently. And that's okay. That is part of it. It's not really a risk. It's part of it. What are the benefits of style self-trust? They are pretty much endless because once you have style self-trust in place and you understand it, you know what to edit from your closet. You know what stays in your closet. You know what to buy. You know what not to buy. You can walk into a store and see a piece and really evaluate and know that you have the self-trust in place to not purchase something that isn't going to be right for you and to purchase something that actually is going to fill a gap and is going to be right for you. You have the benefit of knowing what to pack for travel because you've dialed in your wardrobe and you trust yourself to know that you're going to take the right pieces. You know what to wear to an upcoming special occasion because you trust yourself. You've done the work to grow the self-trust around your style so that there's no second guessing. You're not stressed about it because you know what you like, you have what you need, and you know how to put it together. So as you're beginning to build style self-trust, there are a few things to keep in mind that will make the process a little bit easier. So the first thing is to get clear on how you want to look. It's difficult to build your self-trust towards a look that you want if you don't know what that look is. It's like getting in the car and driving somewhere, but you don't know where you want to go. It just makes it a little bit confusing for your brain, and you can't really grab on to, okay, this is the direction I'm going, and I'm going to start taking steps, style self-trust steps in that direction. So you need to have a pretty clear understanding of what you think you want to look like, what matters to you with regards to your style, where is the end game, where are you headed with regards to your style. You need some clarity around that. And the next thing is you need to be willing to experiment. You need to be willing to make mistakes. You need to be willing to try on shapes and styles and colors and fabrics that you wouldn't normally wear. You need to be willing to get in your closet and pull out the pieces that you think you could love, but you kind of don't ever put on because you don't have the style self-trust to know if you're wearing them right or if they're actually right for you. You need to be willing to experiment and to take a little bit of risk and to step outside of your comfort zone a little so that you can begin to build that style self-trust muscle. All the time you can be evaluating what worked, what didn't work, what could I do differently. And the third thing to keep in mind when you're developing your style self-trust is it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask a friend or a family member or even to hire a stylist to have someone guide you through this process. If this is brand new to you, if you have never felt like you could trust yourself with regards to style and buying things and getting dressed and editing your closet, it is totally okay that you might need a little bit of help, professional or amateur. And so don't be afraid of that. Don't let that keep you from beginning the journey of growing your self-trust. Ask for the help that you need. Totally okay. And the next thing to remember when you are building your style self-trust, the fourth thing would be to really try to let go of comparison. It is not going to do you any good to compare yourself to people who you feel like have done it better or who have more style self-trust, and you're so far behind, and how can you ever get there? I think especially with style, as women, we have this preconceived idea and this false notion that we're supposed to be good at style because we're women, and that's just something that is fundamental for us. And that isn't really true. And even if you were good at style at some point and now you feel like you're not as good at it anymore, our lives change, our bodies change, our budgets change, our circumstances change. So it's normal that our style would change. And if we haven't paid attention to that and grown the self-trust necessary to kind of keep evolving our style over the years, we can start to compare ourselves to people who maybe have paid more attention to it or have developed more style self-trust, or who are professionals in the field, and somehow we think that we're falling short if we don't have it dialed in like they do. So try not to compare. There's no benefit from that. And the fifth thing that I'll offer, to keep in mind is to have fun with it. This is style. These are clothes. This is meant to be a way of expressing yourself to the world and of making yourself happy by wearing things that light you up, that you genuinely love. So remember that, because I think sometimes when we're trying to learn something new and we're trying to retrain our brain to behave in a new way, it can feel like work. It can feel like we're grinding towards that goal that we have. And I would like you to just keep in mind that it's supposed to be fun. It's clothing. It's supposed to be playful. One of the best ways that I find to keep things fun is to stay curious, almost like childlike curiosity. Bring into, what would happen if I tried on something striped? I think I don't like stripes, but maybe actually now I do like stripes. Or I used to really hate fuchsia, but something's telling me that I might want to try something hot pink. Don't be afraid to allow yourself to be curious. And on the other side of that curiosity and kind of amidst that curiosity, the whole process should be fun. And learning style self-trust is something that continues to evolve. As you grow your style self-trust, you will continue to unlock new levels of self-trust, where you start and, your first kind of milestone, you will have grown your self-trust quite a bit to get there. And then you might move to a new country or a new city. You might retire from a job and now have all this time on your hands. You might quit your full-time job to be home with your kids. As your circumstances change, it might require that you strengthen a little more of that style self-trust muscle, because your comfort zone is going to be expanded a bit, and that's a really good time to continue to grow the style self-trust muscle. And the self-trust idea is similar to, being confident. Our brains like us to wait until we're ready to take action. Like, our brain wants to keep us safe. It's I don't even know if it wants to, it's just its entire job is to keep us safe. And it likes routine, and it really works to conserve energy. So if you have a thought pattern or you have a situation that's working in your favor, your brain does not want you to change that. So if you are lacking style self-trust, your brain does not decide one day, today would be a good idea for us to try all kinds of new things around your wardrobe so that you can grow your sense of style self-trust. Your brain has no interest in that. And so it's likely that your brain will tell you, well, why don't you keep watching a few more videos on it? Why don't you read a couple articles on it? Why don't you explore Instagram a little bit before you try to wear anything different or edit anything out, or heaven forbid, buy something new? Let's just hang back a little till we get really good at this. If you want to show up as a confident person, a lot of times you feel like you have to become the confident person before you can show up confidently. But the exact opposite is true. You need to take the risk and put yourself out there in a space that is going to grow your confidence in order to become a more confident person. The same thing is true with style self-trust. We want to hold back until we trust ourselves with our style, but if we don't ever take any action, our self-trust around style does not grow. It's sort of this backwards equation where we want to just wait and have it right before we take action, but there's not any way that can happen. The only way to style self-trust is by taking action and evaluating those actions and seeing what worked, what didn't work, and what you could do differently, because then that muscle gets stronger and stronger. So I just want to offer a few tips on how to begin to take action to strengthen your style self-trust. If you're ready to do this, you're like, this shouldn't be this hard. I want to be able to trust myself when it's time to edit my closet, when it's time to get dressed for anything, when it's time to buy something new. I want to be able to trust myself. I want to grow this style self-trust that Kristen talks about. So here's where I would start. I would start small. I would definitely start small. We sometimes have this idea when we're fed up with something that we should just rip the whole thing out and start, from the very beginning with this giant project. And that usually backfires. Similar to if you want a new workout routine, you want to incorporate going to the gym as part of your normal routine, and you go to the gym, one of the first days and you lift really heavy weights, and then for 10 days you can barely straighten your arms all the way or walk up and down the steps. That doesn't really do the job of growing the muscles the way you want them to. You really want to grow the muscles one step at a time so that you get a little bit sore and then you are recovered, and then you can lift a little more weight and then you're sore and then you recover. It's the same idea with Style Self-Trust. If you decide you are going to revamp your wardrobe head to toe, you are probably going to end up exhausted and frustrated and overwhelmed and scrap the whole idea and go back to wearing the lazy go-tos. Instead, start small. I've never worn a belt before, and I think I might like the way my outfits look better with a belt. I'm going to wear a belt today. I have never front tucked, and I've heard lots of stylists talk about the benefits and the visual impact of front tucking. So I am going to front tuck today, or I'm going to front tuck this week more often than not. Start with small little increments of ways that you can grow and exercise that self-trust muscle, because then you have successes on the other side. As you wear the belt, you get to the end of the day and your brain says, she did something different, but actually it was okay. She made it. She made it home, and the belt didn't self-destruct and it's all okay. Tomorrow she can wear the belt again if she wants to. You've grown that little bit of self-trust so that the belt actually made you feel pretty amazing. Or as you evaluate what worked, what didn't work, what could I do differently, you can decide that the belt didn't work. You hated wearing a belt. You don't ever need to wear a belt again. The self-trust isn't about wrapping your mind around a new idea that isn't actually for you. It's about knowing what is actually for you. It's about knowing that confidently you can make a decision around your style and feel good about it, and know that more likely than not, it is going to be the right decision for you. So you want to start small. You don't want to dive too far into this creation of style self-trust, because it really doesn't work that way. It works one little step at a time, and it is exponential growth over, a period of time. And the next thing to keep in mind when you're growing this style self-trust is that you want to set some sort of a goal. You want to have an end game in mind, or you don't actually know where you're going, and you won't actually know when you've arrived. So style self-trust is in fact one of those things where once you begin to grow this muscle and to build this sense of style self-trust, you will recognize it, because you will go into Anthropologie and you will try on 16 blouses and you won't buy any, because you will trust yourself when that voice inside of you says, none of these are good enough. None of these are exactly what I need. You won't buy one anyway, because you will have developed the style self-trust that says, these aren't right. I can do better than this. The same is true for Target. You won't go into Target and buy, a new t-shirt in 10 different colors when you have dialed in your color palette and you actually only like 2 of those colors, but it was a good deal and it seemed like the right thing to do. You will trust yourself in that way, and you will recognize that that is happening. But if you can set some sort of goals when you start, I want to be able to get dressed 4 days out of the week without any drama. I want to be able to pack for an upcoming vacation without having it take 3 days and lots of tears. Whatever the goal is for you that will help you work your way down the self-trust line, so that when you arrive there, you will know that you have grown your self-trust. You should set that kind of a goal so that it's obvious when you get there. Like I said, it will be obvious when you get there, because you will notice, wow, I didn't buy that top at Anthropologie, or I didn't buy all those t-shirts in all those colors when I went into Target, or I wore those new jeans even though I really kind of didn't feel like it, but I decided that that was a way to grow my self-trust, so I tried a new shape and I loved it. You will notice the little markers along the way, and also set some sort of a goal so that you know that you've arrived because you packed with ease for that trip, or you are now wearing real clothes and putting together outfits you like more than 4 days a week, or at least 4 days a week. And the next thing I would mention is to track your progress. Somehow keep track of how it's going, whether you journal and every single day after you get dressed, at the end of the day, you write down and answer the questions, what worked, what didn't work, what would I do differently. This is a brilliant way to get really clear on Did this top work with these pants? Do I actually like this fabric? What worked? What didn't work? What would I do differently? And you can also take pictures of your outfits so that when you get dressed head to toe, for any given day, you can take pictures of it and really then go back and look over a week or two or a month. How am I doing? How do I feel about this? Am I growing my style self-trust because I'm seeing myself in the outfits and I can evaluate how I look and feel? You're tracking your progress. You can take a picture of your closet before you go in and do the work in there, and then you can take a picture after because you're tracking the progress. Some women hang a piece of paper or keep a piece of paper or a journal in their closet, and they write down a garment every time they wear it for the first time, and then whenever they wear it after that, they put a little hash mark next to the name of the garment so that at the end of a week or a month or a season, you know how much wear you got out of that denim jacket that you weren't sure if you needed, but you now know, my gosh, I wore it every other day because I have the check marks to prove it. Track your progress because it is going to help create evidence. It will be the evidence for how you're doing. You will have an actual tangible thing to look at and say, I actually am way better at this now. Not only do I not go into Anthropologie and buy the blouse, and nothing against Anthropologie blouses. I worked there for over 8 years. I love Anthropologie. I love their blouses, but I don't love the idea that you go in there and feel like you should buy something that isn't actually in your wardrobe's best interest just because you lack style self-trust. But you'll have the data, you'll have the evidence of, I'm actually getting better at this. I am growing my style self-trust muscle. And then the next thing is celebrate your progress. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. I think just as a theme in general, we often don't celebrate our wins. We have something in mind and we, grind to get there, and then we bypass it and we go on to the next thing, and we don't actually pause to realize, wow, I actually did something. I'm celebrating myself. It can be stopping at Trader Joe's to grab some flowers or a favorite beverage. It can be sitting outside and looking at a magazine for a couple minutes, or longer than a couple minutes. It can be, buying yourself a new piece that you really now know would support the life that you live and would fill a gap in your wardrobe. It could be going out to dinner or going out to lunch with a friend. It could be sitting down and watching a rom-com, but celebrate the milestones, the steps along the way to growing this self-trust. Whatever those are for you when you set your goals and you track your progress, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Because by celebrating, it's not frivolous and foolish. The celebration actually solidifies in your brain that this is a new habit you've created. You are rewarding your brain, you're rewarding yourself for having grown your style self-trust, which reminds your brain that this is the new way. This is the new neural pathway that we're going down. That old way where we didn't have any style self-trust, we're not doing that. That road is closed. We are now on this road. And the celebration, similar to training a dog and talking in that high voice and really being super enthusiastic, or even with a toddler who's learning to walk, you are celebrating them and therefore reinforcing the idea that they're on the right path and that it is working. And so do that for yourself with self-trust. It will grow that much faster. And then the last thing I'll mention is don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Even when you feel like you might be slipping backwards and you were doing really well for 2 weeks and you didn't buy anything, and then you went into Old Navy and you bought all these new things because you didn't know what to take on vacation. You're not going backwards. The style self-trust muscle doesn't atrophy that fast. As you begin to build it, your brain will likely rebel a little bit and it will put the brakes on, or have you go into Old Navy and do the old pattern because it isn't quite sure that style self-trust is safe enough for you. It wants to say, well, wait a minute, remember we used to do it this way. This is so much easier. This is so much more familiar. But if you can recognize, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to evaluate this stuff that I bought at Old Navy, and I'm going to return the pieces that really aren't in the best interest of the wardrobe I'm trying to build. That creates style self-trust. You're going to catch yourself if it feels like you want to give up, and you're going to recognize, nope, this is just my brain trying to go back to the old easy way. I'm going to redirect, and I'm going to remind it that we are building the style self-trust that in the long run, and it's not even that long, but long term, from here on forward, it is going to serve you to know how to make the best decisions for yourself and your style and your wardrobe, because you can trust yourself moving forward. You know what you like, you know what colors work, you know what silhouettes and what fabrics do and don't work for you. You know what you like to take on vacation. So there's no outside influence or no internal brain noise that is going to get in the way of that. You have the style self-trust in place, and it is a game changer when it comes to creating a wardrobe you love and then wearing and enjoying that wardrobe day to day. Okay, that's all I got on style self-trust. This is a big topic for me. This is something that I work one-on-one with clients in style therapy on, pretty much all of the time that we work together. Because once you have this dialed in, once you are firm in this idea of I trust myself around my style, everything gets easier with regards to your wardrobe. And you can use this same idea in other areas of your life. You can develop self-trust around being a great cook. You can develop self-trust around keeping your house clean, around watering your plants, around folding the laundry on time, which is my own personal example. By on time, I mean not letting all the clean laundry just pile up in a basket so that then it is just a wrinkled mess when it's time to actually fold it. You can use this idea of building self-trust in all areas of your life, and it ripples and overlaps, and it's just amazing. So if you have any questions about style self-trust, you can drop them in the comments below. I would love to know where you are on this scale. Are you just kind of hearing this for the first time and realizing that you might like to practice this and build this muscle? Are you kind of in the messy middle of building style self-trust and you're not sure how much further you may have to go? Or are you really solidly good in the camp of, I have no trouble with my style whatsoever, I trust myself implicitly, and I'm just good with it, which is awesome, and I celebrate you for that. That's all I got for today on this topic. I am on Instagram pretty often. If you're not following me over there already, I'd love to have you come hang out with me there. At Kristen Cain Style is where to find me, and I'll be back next Friday with another video. If you would like information on building your self-trust through style therapy, which is my signature program, there is a link down below. If you would like, we can hop on a consult call and I can help you really, truly decide if it's the right fit for you right now. That is what I want. I want clients who understand that now's the time for them. If it's not the time for you, I totally get that. But I'm happy to help you make that decision if you're feeling like, you know what, having some support around this would really make it easier for me, and I'm ready to invest in really, truly loving how I look and feel in my clothing. Okay, that's all I got for today. Have a really beautiful week, and I'll see you next Friday. Thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye.